Welcome to Comics with Dan. This is the Comics Commute number 20. So, just so I don't mislead any folks, this is technically not my commute because I am working from home all this week, but I am going to get coffee. So I figured I would record the episode now so that I can actually get an episode out this week. I don't want to miss my streak of 20 consecutive weeks with an episode. So I read a decent amount. I read my pulls from last week, which were Transformers number 9 and Fantastic Four number 21, which were both very good. So I'll talk about those a bit. I also grabbed Spider-Boy number 8 off the shelf, just because I had read a review that there were like puzzles in it, because the main villain in that issue is Puzzle Man, and it was absolutely worth picking up. So I'm really glad that I did. I haven't read a single issue of Spider-Boy apart from that, and I didn't feel like I needed to. There was context provided on sort of what was going on in the story at the beginning, and so I was able to jump into it easily. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself, so I'll talk about that one as well. I also read volume 2 of Joshua Williamson's Superman run. So volume 2, The Chained. I got that from my library, so that was pretty good. And I got an early look at the Displaced number 5, which, if you've been watching, that's one of my favorite series of the year so far. So I'll talk about that one a bit. And so then I also have some pulls coming up this week. World's Finest number 28, always great. Helen of Windhorn number 3, which it feels like it's been forever since the last issue came out. I'll have to kind of go back and see how long it's been. And then I also have the Displaced number 5, which I will be pulling even though I got an early look at it because it's just such a good series. I wanted to have my own copies. And then I have Nightwing 115, which we're getting to the start of the Fallen Grayson, or I guess issue 2 of the Fallen Grayson arc rather. So things are really heating up. I've heard good things about this issue so far. It came out yesterday, so we'll see how it goes. So the first thing we're talking about is Transformers number 9. It's just another great issue. Some really cool action. So in this issue, I think his name is Shockwave. You'll have to excuse my lack of Transformers knowledge. I'm pretty sure his name is Shockwave because there's Shockwave and then Soundwave is sort of the leader of the Decepticons right now. But so he Shockwave's been trapped and it seems kind of like he might be pulling the strings for Soundwave a little bit. But then there's this really cool fight between him and Optimus Prime, and I don't know the exact term, wrestling term, but there's some sort of pile driver that basically Shockwave drops Optimus Prime on his head, which is awesome. So turns out that he's okay, and then fights back. But yeah, another great action-packed issue. At this point, it's pretty much a guarantee that it's going to be a good issue whenever that comes out. So I also read Fantastic Four number 21, which is a Blood Hunt tie-in, and I just recently got back on the book with issue number 20, and so far, I really should go back and get those other issues. It's just such a good series. But the Blood Hunt tie-in, I haven't read anything but the Free Comic Book Day issue for Blood Hunt, so I didn't feel like I needed any of that context. I knew that there was some kind of vampire attack, and that's pretty much all you need to know for this issue. And it's a Reed-centric issue, which is cool. I always find it interesting how different writers take on Reed, just because he's a little insufferable at times. But in this one, him and Alicia, get some bonding time, and it's really nice because they kind of show some of Reed's insecurities, which is not something you see a lot whenever it comes to Reed Richards. He's very confident, very sure of himself because of how smart he is. So, yeah, Fantastic Four number 21, another really good issue. I'm looking forward to 22 because this is sort of like a two-parter, right? The story that started in 21 is going to carry over in 22, which hasn't really been happening normally for Fantastic Four, but in this case, I think they probably needed it for the Blood Hunt tie-in. I also read Spider-Boy number 8, and I got excited in the intro, so I pretty much talked mostly about what I wanted to say. But it's a great standalone issue. They explain a lot at the very beginning, so that you kind of know the background of the story that's going on, but really it doesn't matter to the plot of this issue. We basically just see Spider-Boy's taking on Puzzle Man, and Dan Slott has all these puzzles worked into the issue, which my kids loved, but I loved them too. I'm a big crossword puzzle guy. The puzzle, I mean, there was essentially a crossword. Now the clues for the crossword were basically prior Spider-Boy villains. So I really enjoyed Spider-Boy number 8. I don't know that I'll keep going with it just because I think that the gimmick behind the issue was what I thought was fun. But yeah, I liked it overall. If you find an issue, a copy of number 8, definitely go pick that up. By the way, the reason I'm able to look at the camera so much here is I am in the drive-through line for my coffee. So I'm able to look at the camera a bit more. I also got to read Superman Volume 2, The Chained. I had read a couple of the issues on DC Universe Infinite, but then when I dropped that, I started just sort of trade waiting, and in this case, my library got the copy, so I was able to pick that up. It was good. I think that the ending on the Chained story maybe wasn't my favorite wrap up. It felt a little quick. I thought that the Chained was a really cool villain. I thought that they could have carried it out a little bit longer. But I mean, in a span of 3 issues, he wrecks Superman and then gets wrecked by Superman and Lex Luthor. So, I mean, it was a good volume, though. The Wild West issue was great. I'm sure everyone saw that cover of Superman in his Wild West gear. It was random, but it played into the story fairly organically, and it was a fun issue. I really liked it. Williamson really sort of grabbed that Western feel, and made it feel like I was kind of like watching a Western movie. So that was pretty cool. I liked that issue. That was a good one. So the Displaced number 5 was it was a great ending. If you don't want me to spoil it, maybe fast forward a little bit. But if you're not reading it, then here. But it was not what I would call a happy ending. But I think that overall this story is just like this really great piece on how different people deal with loss differently. I mean, I have a full review on my website that I recently launched, so you can check it out there. But the basically just these different characters, they all lose their loved ones, and you see how they cope with it or really don't cope with it. And the only person that doesn't have someone that they lost is Emmett. And so in the end, Emmett then sort of circles back and plays the herald role in this whatever the name of the place is in Pennsylvania, which is where I'm from. So that was kind of cool. So the ending was really good, and so Emmett circling around and being, helping the next group through this, was definitely an interesting and I thought a good choice of how to end the story. Now, what makes me wonder is I wonder how many cities Harold went through this with before he just couldn't take it anymore, and that's why I think in issue 2 or 3 he killed himself. It makes me wonder if he was like Emmett's age when he started doing that and did it so many times that he just lost memory. It's such a cool idea. Like I said in my review, this was a concept that could have just been like a like your average Twilight Zone episode, but Ed Brisson and Luca Casalanguida, D. Cuniff, and then obviously Hassan Otsmane-Elhaou, the goat letterer. They crushed it. They took what could have just been a random 5-issue series from Boom that no one would remember 10 years from now, and made it just something awesome. So I loved this series. It blew me away. So definitely go check it out if you haven't. You'll enjoy it even if you're hearing the ending now. So it's just really well done. So I also got to read a graphic novel called Tunis to Sydney, and hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. The author, or one of the 2 authors, Christian Carnouche, reached out to me. He and his wife Miriam co-wrote this book, and Sam Rapley did the art in it, and it's sort of like a slice of life. It's not like an action-packed book that I normally read, or a thriller or horror or anything like that. So, but the basis of the story is that the protagonist Lilia, and hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, she lives in Sydney, but she's from Tunisia. So she's a North African that is very far from home, and her parents die in a car crash, and so she spends the span of this story reflecting on the guilt that she feels for not having been there, how she can carry on her parents' legacy, and that sort of thing, all while also we see the relationship between Bill and Lilia is how does this kind of loss affect relationships? So overall, I have a review of that on my website as well. It was really nice. I took a step out of my comfort zone reading it. It's not something normally that I would read, but I definitely enjoyed it. It kind of made me reflect on my own relationship with my parents and everything. So I think that it's absolutely worth checking out. Make sure you check out the review too if you want to get a little more in depth into it. And so that was a really good one. So definitely check that one out. So I decided that I'm going to start doing Comics Commute trivia. So what I'll do is at the end of each episode, I will read off a trivia question that has to do with one of the books I read this week, and I have a page on my website where you can enter the answer, right? And everyone that gets a correct answer will get put on the leaderboard, and however many points you have, in this case by the end of July, will be entered that number of times to win the giveaway. And this giveaway is for the New Mutants number 87, second printing, which is the first appearance of Cable. So this is going to be the trivia question, right? So in Superman Volume 2, The Chained, the Lex Luthor Revenge Squad consists of 4 people. There's Dr. Farm, Mr. Graft, Sammy Stryker or the Chained, and then a 4th surprise character that is revealed in the last issue of that arc. Who is the 4th member of the Lex Luthor Revenge Squad? So I have it. I'll have it linked here. Go to the website and put your answer in. Put your name or online alias, whatever it is, as long as you keep it consistent. That way I can apply the points to each one. You'll get entered. A correct answer will get you an entry to win the New Mutants number 87 book. I do want to keep it to the US just because I don't know how shipping's going to work for that. And if we get almost no participation, then it's if we get almost no participation, then I'll push it out a little bit just so I can accumulate some more entries. So I think that's all that I had. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe, and thanks for watching.